Peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum. When we ask about how the Prophet Muhammad, praise and peace be upon him, came to be recognized as an authority in knowledge, the Quran points us away from titles and towards recognition through reality. His authority was not imposed on people, it emerged because of his life, because of his words, and the moral order of creation, all being in harmony. People did not follow him because he carried credentials. They followed him because what he brought made sense. It stabilized life and it awakened the best in the human being. The Quran reminds us that he lived among his people long before revelation, a lifetime. They watched him, they tested him, they trusted him. And that lived credibility matters. This is how Allah teaches human beings to recognize authority through fitrah, the original moral intelligence placed in every soul. When truth is spoken plainly and is lived consistently, the fitrah responds to it. Authority is felt before it's named. The Quran stories reinforce this pattern. Guidance always comes through human beings whose inner integrity is preserved. The stories are not just history, they're mirrors. They show us how innocence, honesty, and moral restraint develop into leadership that can carry responsibility for others. Even when the Quran speaks of signs in nature or history, it's teaching us the same lesson. Reliability, balance, and consistency signal truth. Over time, Muslim societies have introduced what's called ijazas as a way of preserving accuracy in transmission. At their best, they were simple acknowledgments of a learning relationship. I heard this from you, and you heard it from them. But gradually, ijazas shifted from being records of learning to being symbols of authority. That shift marks a departure from the original Quranic method. Authority became something granted by institutions rather than something recognized by conscious community impact and moral coherence. Imam W. Muhammad warned us against this. He didn't want our thinking to slide into equating knowledge with diplomas or religious authority with certificates. He taught that Islam must remain natural, intelligible, and morally accountable in real life. When credentials replace truth lived under pressure, religion becomes formal, it becomes brittle, and it becomes disconnected from human growth. So the African American experience, it gives this lesson in particular force. A people shaped by false religious authorities learn to discern truth not by official stamps, but by whether leadership actually delivered. Does it deliver dignity? Does it deliver justice? Does it deliver stability? And that historical trial produced a refined moral sensitivity, a Quranic sign of how Allah brings guidance out of suffering for the benefit of all. This is why claims to represent the guided tradition of Imam W.D. Muhammad cannot be abstract or self-appointed. Continuity matters, not as a hierarchy, but as a moral direction. Institutions that issue certificates in his name while refusing to recognize his successor, Imam Earl Abdul Malik Muhammad, break the very logic that Imam W.D. Muhammad taught. Severing credentials from living guidance turns learning into a hollow form. Such claims lack legitimacy because they detach knowledge from its moral trajectory. Imam Earl Abdul Malik Muhammad stands today as a clear focal point of that continuity, offering Quran-centered, rational, and humane guidance through the WDM School of Islamic Thought and Practice. This leadership is not about monopoly or control. It's about clarity. It's about unity. It's about direction for those seeking the good life. So a takeaway. I have a takeaway that's practical and demanding. Do not measure authority by paperwork. Measure it by truthfulness, coherence, and the fruit it produces in human lives. Protect your fitrah. Seek knowledge that strengthens character and builds just community, and align yourself with living guidance that helps you grow into the person that Allah created you to be. That is how authority in knowledge is recognized. That's how it was recognized then. That's how it's recognized now. By God's signs in the human soul and in the world. Praise be to Allah. Peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum.